Hey, what's up guys, Sean here. So in today's video we're going to take a look at the Onewind Outdoors 3-season Bivy tent, and we're going to do a little comparison of it to the Onetigris Backwoods Bungalow. Should be pretty cool. Let's get it. So up front, I will say that Onewind did send this to me to do a review on, so just keep that in mind. But I'm not going to let that influence my first look review of this. This is a first look, and we'll set them up side by side and check them out. But we will be doing a further review and camping in it coming up pretty soon. So the thing that I do like about the way Onewind Outdoors did this is they just said, can we send this to you for you to check out and review? And they did not give me any parameters or anything that they would like for me to say about it, which is something that some companies will do. So they're getting an honest review on this thing, and I know that this is not a apples to apples comparison. I understand that, and we'll kind of talk about why that is, but why I'm also comparing them. So first up, this is actually a timely review. This was sent to me not long after I did my return to the Green Swamp video where I camped in this, and there's some upgrades I think to this that Onewind Outdoors has done. Now they are not the same. Like I said, this is not a apples to apples comparison. The Backwoods Bungalow is considered a 2-person tent. In my opinion, it is a 1.5-person tent at best. 2 small people maybe, but again, for 1 person, the Backwoods Bungalow has plenty of room and good room for storage. And Onewind says that this is a 1-person tent. So there is a difference there. I have not taken the 3-season Bivy tent out yet, so we'll take that out in a minute and just see how it compares size-wise. I know that the Backwoods Bungalow is a little bit bigger, so if it being a little smaller makes a difference to you, that might tick a little box for Onewind Outdoors for you. At the time of filming, both of these are running $109 on Amazon right now. So take that for what you will. This is 37 ounces, I believe, for this little Onewind Bivy tent, 3-season Bivy tent. The Onetigris comes in at about 51 ounces, or a little over 51 ounces. So this is, you know, considerably heavier, I guess you might say, than the Onewind. So if that makes a difference for you, maybe that's another box you can check. And like I said, package wise, the Onetigris is a good bit bigger. The Onewind Bivy tent says that it is a sill nylon material and that it is 3,000 to 5,000 millimeters of waterproofing. So the Backwoods Bungalow says that it is a nylon ripstop material and that it is 1,500 millimeters of waterproofing. So take that for what you will, and that's just the differences between those two. Okay, so I actually hate putting out all that information. That's something that you can go look up yourself. But if we're going to do a comparison between the two, kind of need to know what we're looking at here. So now that we've kind of got all that out of the way, let's set these things up, see the differences, and really get a good look at this new Bivy tent. Alright, so we are back in my primitive camp area on my property here. This is where I had my canvas tarp and everything set up, but hurricanes dismantled that for me, so we've kind of picked up a few things and got the area a little bit straightened up, and we're going to go ahead and set the both setups up between this tree and this tree, and then this tree and this tree. So we'll go ahead and set them both up at the same time, and then we'll take a look at them and do a little comparison. Now, one of the things that I want to do is I want to try to set up that Onewind bivy tent without using the instructions. I haven't watched any videos on it yet. I do know that both of these setups can be used with a ridge line or with trekking poles. So we're going to use ridge lines between the two trees, and then we'll use the trekking poles for the awnings. All right, so let's just start out with what comes in the Onewind bag. So again, this is the Onewind 3-season bivy tent, and we'll go ahead and take this thing out of the bag. I like that the bag has the compression straps on it. This thing has a bag full of stakes. It has orange tie-outs with what looks to be the reflective string. So we'll take a look at that. We're going to do a video on that coming up. But let's go ahead and get this thing set up and see how easy it is. Like that. Now, I haven't looked to see how many tie-outs that this thing has, but it came with, looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stakes and some extra guy outs. And these are actually pretty nice, although they are fairly short. Okay, so you can immediately tell that this is much, much smaller than the Backwoods Bungalow. So this thing is pretty cool. It's got a drop-down windscreen on the side of it there. I do like that. So when you're setting up your camps, you need to know which way your average wind direction is coming from. And ours typically comes across here. So this is actually going to work out really good for the way we've got it set up. But now I'm going to go ahead, I put a bowline on here. I am going to use that like a marline spike hitch. I'll drop this across my trekking pole like that. Figure out where it needs to be. Stake it out. So that doesn't have a zipper on it, it just has the little Velcros on it. That's okay. So some noticeable differences right off the bat. On the Onetigris Backwoods Bungalow, this vent back here on the back is lower to the ground. But we'll have to look at that because I'm not 100% sure it's as big as this mesh. One thing that I do like though, it has these little mesh pockets on either end. And that's pretty nice. This definitely doesn't have the headroom the Backwoods Bungalow has. So, like I said, it's not exactly apples to apples. But this is considered a one-person tent, and that's considered a two-person tent. But the Backwoods Bungalow has become a staple in the bushcraft camping community, and I kind of wanted to just check and see if this was comparable or even, you know, a candidate for an upgrade. One thing that I do like about this, however, is right back here. Unlike the Backwoods Bungalow, this has a vent that you can open up just like this. Pop that thing open, zip it back up, and now you have a vent up there to vent the condensation. That may be a game changer here, because on the Backwoods Bungalow, condensation was a nightmare. But I also believe that not only the size inside the tent is smaller with this, but the Backwoods Bungalow actually has more room in the awning area. So let's get that thing set up, take a look, and then we're going to take some measurements and really see the differences. Okay, so when I said that this was not an apples to apples comparison, I didn't know how true that really was. This is not an apples to apples comparison. This is not even an apples to bananas comparison. Onewind has never said that this is their answer to the Backwoods Bungalow. I understand that. And that's not what I'm saying either. I was just testing them out. I wanted to see the differences in size. And who knows, this may have been a better option for someone than this one. Could possibly still be. The Onewind 3-season bivy tent is just what it says it is. It's a bivy tent. It's got a small footprint. It doesn't weigh very much. It doesn't take up much room in your pack. It would get you out of the weather for the night. It's a bivy tent. The Backwoods Bungalow is a tent with an awning on it. It has a ton more room inside that tent, and the awning covers more space. Now, one of the things that I do really like about the 3-season bivy tent is this little wall right here. That little wall is really nice to keep blowing rain from coming in through the side there, or, you know, the wind off of you, that sort of thing. They are small little walls on the Backwoods Bungalow, but not as big. And so that's, you know, that may or may not matter to you at all. But to me, I really like the little wall that they've added to it. I think it's a good size for a bivy tent for me. The problem for me is being a big guy. A lot of bivy tents are just too small for me. I've got one coming that we're going to try out too, but I've got my doubts on that one. But this is a good size for a bivy tent. It's got a small footprint, doesn't weigh very much, doesn't take up much room in your pack. But speaking of size, let's take the ruler and measure this thing out and just see the differences in size. Alright, on the big end, let's see. We're looking at roughly, you're looking at roughly 40 inches, 39 to 40 inches on the big end, roughly 30 inches on the small end. As far as headroom goes, we're looking at just about 36 inches on the high end of the 3-season Bivy tent. Alright, now the Onetigris being a rectangle makes it a little easier. So we're looking at a width of right at 4 feet. And this ruler only goes up to 72 inches. And we're looking at probably another, so close to another foot. So we're talking 4 foot by roughly 7 foot. And the headroom is considerably more here. So we're going to look and see how much headroom we got. So it's hard to tell exactly with this. We got some bow in it, but I would say we've got probably 41 inches or so of headroom in here. So there is a considerable difference in size with these things. The Backwoods Bungalow has less mesh across the bottom, but it is lower to the ground. So that being the case, you've got less bathtub floor in the Backwoods Bungalow than you do in the Onewind 3-season Bivy tent. That has more mesh, but it's higher off of the ground. It's not super high off of the ground, and it will draw some air through it, but it definitely is higher off the ground than this. And that actually may give it an advantage, because this, even though it has that vent across the back of it, that vent is only, you know, this high off of the ground, so it's not drawing as much air maybe as that one. Only time will tell with the condensation. But and the other thing that I like about the Backwoods Bungalow here is the tie outs on the back wall. It pulls this back wall out and gives you a ton more room in here. So those are all just comparisons that you guys can take a look at and decide for yourself which is going to be the better option for you. I like them both. But soon I'll be doing an overnighter in the Onewind 3-season Bivy tent to test out the vent in there and see if that helps with the condensation. So there you have it. That is my initial look and comparison of the Onewind 3-season Bivy tent to the Onetigris Backwoods Bungalow. I hope this helped you out some. If it did, give that big thumbs up for me. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you get notified next time we put out a video. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave me a comment. I'll see you next week.